Our next guest is a very, very, very dear friend of mine. We have worked together in Georgia. He is chair of the Atlanta NAACP Political Action. And we met last year, literally, and had an incredible opportunity to work together on the Georgia primary, on the Georgia general, on the Georgia runoff. And then the legislature went into session, and boy, then we really had to get to work. So without further ado, I would love to introduce Mr. Ray McClendon. And Ray, take it away.
Thank you so much, Andrea. It is such a joy and a pleasure, as always, to be with you and to share in the excitement as we celebrate this amazing work. You know, with the proverb says, without vision, the people perish. Without execution, the vision will not be fully realized. And so what we have tonight is the opportunity to celebrate the great vision of Center for Common Ground and the way that this vision can be executed through democracy centers. You know, we had the great opportunity to meet Andrea and began to work at the NAACP in Atlanta with the Center for Common Ground as we were beginning to do a lot of the things that many of you have already talked about tonight. I hear my Code 1911 brothers from Alabama talking about what happened. I happen to be a Kappa. So I know what you're talking about across the state of Alabama and how it has made a difference to collaborate. And we were doing that with the D9 members here in Georgia. Reverend Dr. Ben Williams has been a part of that we worked together on. And what we found was that there was a desire to want to come together, to get out of our silos, put our egos to the side, and really make a difference where we could be much more efficient and much more effective together than we could ever be apart. And that process started in mass in 2020. But we were still missing some elements of that. And boy, did that change when we met Andrea and Center for Common Ground. Because the beauty of CCG and what she's doing with these democracy centers is, the way I like to put it is, she takes relational organizing and establishing those levels of relationships from the bottom up and not the top down, with the premier technology platform for civic engagement in the country. And that puts our efforts on steroids. See, a lot of us don't understand all of that. We don't have time to do it. We don't know how to do it, even if we had the time. And with her savant mind, she has been able to galvanize all of these young folk, all of these young techies, and bring that energy that normally is in Silicon Valley, making millions and hundreds of millions of dollars, to bear for us to be able to be successful in civic engagement. So we applaud what she has been able to do and how she has mobilized us in ways that have gone beyond what many of us dreamed was possible. And that materialized in 2020, of course, in the general election in Georgia, with a historic vote in the general. And then, of course, culminated in a big way on January the 5th, 2021, in the Senate runoffs. But that was just the beginning. We continue to innovate and elevate the momentum that occurred throughout that process and went into the municipal elections in this past November. And while the national narrative was saying that progressives were losing, that there was no enthusiasm, that narrative was not borne out in Georgia when we flipped over 50 municipal seats to progressive candidates across the state of Georgia. So the work that you're doing in these democracy centers is working, it's growing, and it's making a difference, even though the narrative is not being portrayed. We know that the work is getting done at the grassroots level, and we thank each and every one of you for that. And we're certainly appreciative of being a part of that. And we wouldn't be where we are today if it were not for the great work that Andrea is doing. So as we look forward to 2022, we are going to take what we've learned over the last several years and ramp it up to a whole nother level. We know that there are powers and forces that are attempting to tear down our democracy. And these democracy centers and the work that we will be doing through them and around them and the philosophy of them across multiple organizations will be the way that we can defeat those anarchists, those insurrectionists, and those who would take over. Right now in Georgia, there's a move afoot to dismantle local boards of election, to stack the deck in school board races, in a whole number of areas, to make a difference to where what Trump tried to do with the Secretary of State in Georgia in 2020, he wants to be able to do by not having to go with one person, but have all of these local election boards in his back pocket. That means that things like democracy centers will be even more important, because we will need to do battle on the ground in local jurisdictions, county by county. So this is a winning strategy. It's a necessary strategy. It's a strategy not just for us to vote our power, but to truly defend democracy as we know it in the United States of America. So we're here, we're excited. We continue to celebrate the work, but we're more excited about what we will be able to do together in the future. The future is ours through all of these great young people that are coming on board, and we're just glad to be able to do some of the lifting along with all of you wonderful people. Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. That was wonderful. It was inspiring.